unless you are also looking at Saturn's transit into the Pisces sign. From the moon sign, which means where the moon is placed and which sign it is placed in your horoscope, you may not be able to make a holistic assessment because of not knowing the mental, the emotional, the decision-making balance which Saturn is bringing when Saturn moves into Pisces sign. Just a few days back, we have done the analysis or the predictions or the ensuing results which may come upon for all the 12 rising sign people based on Saturn's transit, which is about to happen next month into sign of Pisces. However, it is not just enough to look at the transit, especially of the larger planets, the slower moving planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu and Ketu, only from the rising sign perspective. The mental proponent, the decision making, the emotional perspective also should be seen by virtue of seeing it from the moon sign, which is also called in the ancient shlokas as seeing the gochar or the transit from the moon sign. So to make a holistic assessment, we need to see it both from the rising sign and the moon sign. So because we have already done the rising sign last week, we are today going to discuss the emotional side, the mental side, the decision-making side by virtue of where the moon lies in which sign when Saturn is moved into Pisces sign. Now first, let's look at moon being in the sign of Aries, which means your moon sign is the Aries sign. So when Saturn will be moving into the Pisces sign next month, within a month of that, Jupiter will be moving into the Gemini sign, into your third house for Aries moon sign people, and Rahu will be moving into your 11th house in Aquarius, and Ketu will be moving into your 5th house in the sign of Leo. So what is more important is while Saturn will be in Pisces, will be increasing the optimism, the imagination. Jupiter will be focused on your communication skills. However, the direct impact of either Jupiter, Saturn or Rahu is not on the moon. Okay. However, neither on the moon sign, which is Cancer sign. However, Ketu's 9th aspect will be falling on the moon, while moon rules the 4th house, the Cancer sign, and moon's aspect is on the Libra sign. So for the first 1 year, till June next year, 2026, Ketu's aspect will be on moon, which means because moon rules the 4th house and now is in the Lagna in the Aries sign, because we're looking from a moon sign perspective. So the home component, assets and domestic life, your peace, your tranquility, how at home you are, that will be influenced by Ketu's aspect on the moon while moon is in the Aries sign in your natal chart. Because Ketu is a denier and Ketu's aspect is on the moon, so the results of home, domestic life, the peace, the tranquility, the satisfaction that you're getting from home, home investments, home repair, buying of conveniences, all of that will either be reduced. So either the inclination of buying or adding to those assets will be reduced, or ability of buying assets or getting conveniences, all that may be reduced. Or even if you buy a home or conveniences, you may not get too much of an emotional kick, emotional happiness out of it. You may buy it more out of necessity or because of conveniences, but you may not be very happy because of that. So that is Ketu denying the emotional aspect of moon because of moon ruling the 4th house and the Cancer sign. However, Ketu is in the 5th house of romance, which means Ketu will also deny till at least a year and a half, which means for 18 months, the ability to get the maximum satisfaction from your domestic life or establishing a domestic home or in your romantic liaisons, because of moon's aspect also being on Libra, the sign of relationship. So either the romantic liaison may not work out, or you may not be so inclined towards it, or you may not be very happy with it. Ketu is a change bringer also. So you should be a little careful of how you're looking at your romantic relationship. If you're not in a committed marriage-like situation or a live-in situation already, then be careful of Ketu moving into the 5th house and aspecting the moon while moon is aspecting the Libra sign, because this is also placement of change. So change in how you look at your partner, change at how you look at the romantic liaison, how much you are getting love and affection, how much you're inclined towards that person, or the inclination is moving somewhere else. That also has to be seen. And because moon is aspecting the 7th house, so while the romantic liaison may not be that strong, however, your empathetic nature towards others, towards teamwork, towards team effort will still continue. Which means for the next 18 months, you may be more helpful, you may be more empathetic towards others, even at the cost of yourself. So you'll have to be more careful because Ketu is denying your own growth in the Lagna from your ability to be empathetic or be supportive and caring to others, while still be supportive and caring and helpful to others. So be a little careful of not overdoing your helpful nature while being denied too much of a gain from that. However, this situation will change slightly when in June 2026 next year, Jupiter will then be transiting into your 4th house and the Cancer sign. So it will change the equation drastically. And then after a few months, when Rahu will be moving into Capricorn, and Ketu will also be accompanying Jupiter in the 4th house and the Cancer sign, 4th house from a moon sign perspective, that's when the equation will change drastically. Now, Ketu is not influencing moon directly with its 9th aspect of learning from situations. However, Ketu is not denying a direct denying of the equation from home. Now it is not denying you romantic liaison or romantic affair or getting into a new relationship or enjoying the relationship or intimacy or even sexual intimacy. But it is denying you setting up a home with that person, setting up a new domestic life. Now what is happening is Jupiter is aspecting Saturn in the Pisces sign in the 12th house of imagination, bed pleasures, while Jupiter's placed in the Cancer sign and it has gone in the Kendra to the moon. So it's a short, small form of a Gajkesari yoga. So Jupiter is expanding home, tranquility, happiness, but Ketu is denying the establishment of a long-term stable foundation of a relationship. So one aspect of your home is surely being expanded. You will be enjoying it, whereas some other aspects may not be. So, for example, if the material aspects are being given to you or being expanded, home is being expanded, you're buying a new home, buying conveniences, but the satisfaction, the tranquility, the happiness, or the peaceful atmosphere at home may be denied. This may also be strong because Rahu will be moving into the Capricorn sign. So, directly, because Saturn rules the Capricorn sign, gone into the 12th house, Jupiter aspecting from moon's Cancer sign, which means you may have the hunger and greed for career. Your decision making may also, however, be a little more emotional where career is concerned. So in a state of being very positive, without thinking too much, you may make a decision about career, which you should be a little more careful about. So for Aries, right, a moon sign people, the emotional aspect may interfere a little bit with your decision making with your career, home environment and investments and romantic liaison. So you will have to be a little careful. However, on the whole, some aspects of the 4th house of investments or assets or setting up a home will be given to you while other may be denied. Now for Taurus moon sign people, which means for those people on whose horoscope moon lies in the Taurus sign. So we have converted the Lagna into the moon sign Lagna, which is the Taurus Lagna from moon sign perspective and looking at the transit of Saturn into Pisces from there. So for Taurus moon sign people, moon rules the 3rd house of Cancer sign. However, Saturn moving into Pisces, which means Saturn will be aspecting moon over the next 2.5 years, the natal placement of moon. Now, this means that because Saturn will be aspecting moon, so for all the matters connected to the 3rd house which moon rules, Saturn is asking you to slow down and follow rules and regulations, which means without following rules, regulations, boundaries, procedures, you may not be able to get more results out of your effort. The 3rd house is the house of effort and also the house of communication, your ability to influence others. So you can't lie, you can't cheat, you can't manipulate people into decision making. Saturn is denying that. And because Saturn is concerned with your career, rules the 10th house and rules the 9th house of learning. So Saturn is saying with his third aspect, put in effort to learn and then only to grow. Especially while Rahu will continue to be in the Aquarius sign and Ketu in the Leo sign till next year. At least till Jupiter moves into Cancer and the other two transits happen. So Saturn's aspect on Moon's seventh aspect on the seventh house of relationship. So in a relationship, there may be one transformation because Moon is aspecting Scorpio sign. So there may be one change, transformation or change in how you're looking at the relationship. And you may be wanting to get into a more settled and practical relationship rather than an emotional one. So you may relook at how you're looking at decision making in settling into a relationship. However, post June 26, the situation will change dramatically. Now, Jupiter would have moved into the Cancer sign in June next year, and a few months after that, towards the end of the year, Rahu would have moved into your Capricorn sign and Ketu would have joined Jupiter in the Cancer sign. So now what's happening? Now the direct influence of Rahu will be on the Moon with its fifth aspect. Saturn will continue to aspect Moon with the third aspect. And Rahu and Ketu and Jupiter are both in Cancer sign ruled by Moon. So directly or indirectly, all the major planets, Rahu, Ketu, Saturn and Jupiter, all are influencing the Moon in some way or the other. Saturn with his aspect, Rahu with his aspect, and Jupiter and Ketu by virtue of being placed in the sign ruled by Moon. So what will happen? Third house, communication, will be expanded. Jupiter will allow you to influence others, do well in your job, do well in your communication. However, Ketu will deny you the ability to get maximum gains if you are not working in a teamwork environment. If you're more of an individual player, then Jupiter will expand communication effort. All that will bear good fruits for you. There may be enhancement in career, there may be enhancement on long distance travel, and all that will happen, especially because of Rahu also moving into the Capricorn sign and having the fifth aspect of gains from the ninth house on Moon. So surely ability to, so there will be a good thing for you, rise in stature through your communication, through your effort will be there. But the relationship aspect still, Ketu aspecting with its fifth aspect, the seventh house. Jupiter is also aspecting it. However, one thing will surely be denied, which is not the effort to do something in their relationship aspect will be denied, but for money, for career enhancement, for higher learning, for long distance travel, all of this will be fantastic for Taurus moon sign people, because in Taurus sign, Moon is exalted. So for Taurus moon sign people, make the best use of both the transits. First, Jupiter moving into Gemini, Rahu Ketu moving into Aquarius and Leo. And then next year, Jupiter first moving into Cancer and Rahu and Ketu also moving into Capricorn and Ketu into Cancer respectively, because it is a high time of change, transformation, teamwork, money, finance, except the emotional aspect may be a little topsy-turvy or will be a little tug of war. Now for Gemini moon sign people, which means for those people who have Moon in the Gemini sign, so Jupiter would be also moving into the Gemini sign shortly after Saturn moves into Pisces. So Saturn is moving into Pisces in March, end of March 2025, and a month after that, Jupiter is moving into the Gemini sign, joining Moon. So it's sort of a Gajkesari yoga being formed between Jupiter and natal Moon. And now Rahu will be aspecting once it transits into your Aquarius sign in May, few days after Jupiter's transit into Gemini. Rahu will start aspecting Moon. Ketu would have moved into the third house. So yeah, now the influence on the moon are twofolds. One, Jupiter is expanding the denotation of the moon because moon rules the second house of income, livelihood, expanding and growing it. So there will be a chance of growth, increment in your livelihood, in your nutrition, in your food habits, in your support of family, in family supporting you. All of this will be enhanced. And Rahu in the ninth house, which means there may also be a chance of increase or increment connected to foreign land, especially if you're working in a multinational corporation or in a foreign company or some association of your company with foreign lands is there. Especially because Jupiter rules the 10th house of career and now moving into the Lagna from a moon sign perspective and joining moon. So increment is happening connected to career and you're drawing emotional happiness, emotional satisfaction also for it. So Rahu will expand the focus, the attention of moon, the desire of moon, especially because Jupiter also rules the 7th house, where both Jupiter and moon will be aspecting, while Jupiter also rules the 10th house. So teamwork is strongly enhanced, which means you will become very supportive, empathetic in a team environment, in a relationship environment also. So overall, this is a very good period for Gemini sign people till June next year at least. But post June 2026, the situation will change because Jupiter would have moved into the Cancer sign, into your second house, which is ruled by moon. And a few months after that, towards the end of the year, Rahu would have moved into your Capricorn sign and Ketu would have joined Jupiter in the Cancer sign in the second house. So now the direct influence of Rahu is no more on moon. The fifth aspect of Rahu when it was in Aquarius is no more. However, by virtue of Ketu and Jupiter moving into the second house of income, now they are directly expanding income, directly expanding the ability to be able to have higher nutrition support from family. However, Ketu is denying one aspect of the income of livelihood, which means because Jupiter rules the 10th house of career, going into the second house of income, which means there will be growth, there may be higher designation, there may be high stature also. However, the money that you have, the increment that you have may not be as strong or as per your desire. Or you may not be too emotionally happy because we are talking from the moon sign perspective. However, because moon continues to aspect Sagittarius sign ruled by Jupiter, while Jupiter moves into its exaltation sign of Cancer, which means the career will surely be enhanced through teamwork, through the ability to be able to support people and be empathetic where obstruction, challenges, problems are there. So on the whole, the first transit of Jupiter into Gemini is very, very gainful, and the second as transit of Jupiter into Capricorn and into Cancer, while Rahu moves into Capricorn, Ketu moves into Cancer sign also, will be more focused on income and increment rather than career growth. Now for Cancer moon sign people, when moon is in the Cancer sign, here moon is into its own sign and there is no direct influence at least for 1 year, starting from March end or April beginning when Saturn moves into Pisces, and then in May when Jupiter moves into Gemini sign, and few days after that Rahu moves into Aquarius and Ketu moves into the second house. So there is no direct influence of these entities on the moon directly. However, moon's aspect will be on the 7th house ruled by Saturn, the Capricorn sign, and Saturn, ruler of the Capricorn sign and the Aquarius sign, would have moved into the Pisces sign in the 9th house. Now, which means that moon being in the Cancer sign, the person is emotional, the person is empathetic, the person is supportive, caring, somebody who will be moving forward to help people in need. However, moon's aspect is on the Capricorn sign of relationship, teamwork, while Saturn, the ruler of the 7th house or the Capricorn sign, has moved into the Pisces sign, which means in a relationship you may become more giving, more empathetic, more caring, more supportive. And because Saturn has moved into Pisces, so you may be very optimistic that if I take care of people, if I support people, if I am empathetic towards people, then people will also pay back. But that may not be the situation. And then you will find sometimes you may become too lonely, too isolated also within yourself. especially because the sign that Saturn moves into, the sign ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter has gone into the 12th house of isolation. So in your mind, you may feel isolated because you may feel I'm helping people, I'm empathetic towards people, I'm supporting people, but people are not supporting me back enough. So be a little careful of where and how much you help people, and at least over the next 1 year, don't expect too much in return. However, next year from June 2026, the situation will change drastically because now Jupiter would have moved into the Cancer sign in your same house or same sign where Moon is placed in your natal chart. So now this is a strong Gajkesari Yoga because Moon is in its own sign of Cancer. Jupiter gets exalted in Cancer sign. However, once Jupiter moves in the Cancer sign in June, few months after that, Ketu will also move into the Cancer sign and Rahu would then move into the Capricorn sign. Now there is a direct influence of both Jupiter and Ketu on Moon, and all these entities, at least Jupiter and Moon's direct aspect on Rahu. So what is happening now is because of Jupiter and Ketu both moving into the same sign ruled by Moon and along joining Moon, Jupiter is expanding the ability of Moon to give very good results from the Lagna, from the stature, the standing, the prestige. So you will get a lot of adulation, you will get a lot of recognition, you will get a lot of appreciation. However, there may be a challenge in the growth coming from a career change, because Ketu also is the co-ruler of Scorpio sign and moving into the sign ruled by Moon. So which means you may not be happy with the growth that you are getting. Career opportunities which may come in may not really excite you too much. So while there may be gain, there may be increments, there will be more money, there will be stability, but a good career change will either not be that good enough or it may not excite you enough. However, Moon and Jupiter continuing to aspect the 7th house where Rahu is placed. So in a relationship with Rahu placed there, you may become too empathetic, you may become too giving. However, Rahu plays there, which means you will not be happy with the support that you are getting from others. So you should be careful here because Saturn, which rules the Capricorn sign, has moved into the sign of Pisces, which means you will become too optimistic, you will be too giving, you will be also be more charitable. However, your need, your wishes and desires from others may not be met. Now, for Leo Moon sign people, where Moon is in the Leo sign, you will find that post Saturn moving into the Pisces sign, end of March or beginning of April, the month after that, Jupiter would also have moved into the Gemini sign, and Rahu would move into the Aquarius sign, and Ketu would move into the Leo sign. Now, what does this mean? This means that Moon's controller of the 12th house, which rules by virtue of it ruling Cancer sign and being placed in the Leo sign, is now being compromised by virtue of Ketu also joining it here. So while the aspect of Jupiter is not directly on Moon, Saturn's aspect is not directly on Moon, Rahu's aspect is not on Moon, however, Ketu's direct conjunction, that equation is there, which means the 12th house results will be a struggle for Leo Moon sign people. So those people who are looking at emotional satisfaction, emotional well-being from foreign lands, from working in an isolated or individual capacity, not in a teamwork. Some of you may be working in a team environment on projects, but some of you may be an individual equation or individual player, individual worker. You may be a doctor in a clinic. You may be somebody who's working on an IT project alone. You may be in foreign lands. You may be working for foreign organization. So there you will find that you feel more isolated. You feel more left alone. And you will find that while there may be growth opportunities, there may be a lot of increments, but overall, you will not feel very happy or satisfied, at least for the 1 year. You may become spiritual, you may not think too much, you may not become too excited by things. Even if there is a career change, even if there is a growth, you will feel, okay, this has happened, but what if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? You will still, because Ketu is a denier, you may not be able to get the maximum satisfaction or growth from your endeavor to go to foreign lands or to improve the imagination, the creativity. So those people who are in more creative job may find it a struggle to become more innovative, to think out of the box and to use your imagination and creativity. However, though the growth may be there, but the satisfaction, the mental satisfaction may not be that much. However, the situation changes drastically once Jupiter moves into the Cancer sign next year in June 2026. That's when within a few months after that, Rahu also moves into Capricorn sign and Ketu joins Jupiter in the Cancer sign. Now, what is happening is while Moon is in the Leo sign, the Jupiter, which gets exalted in the Cancer sign, has moved into the 12th house in Moon's rulership sign of Cancer, and Ketu is also joined Jupiter within a few months. Now, what is happening? Though Rahu is not directly aspecting Moon, neither Saturn, however, Ketu and Jupiter are indirectly influencing Moon. Earlier, Ketu was directly influencing Moon. Now, both Jupiter and Ketu are indirectly influencing Moon. What does it mean? It means Jupiter is expanding the 12th house results of gains, of getting prosperity in foreign lands from individual roles in an equation with foreigners or in multinational corporations. However, Ketu is denying you the higher growth, higher opportunity, because Ketu rules the 4th house, moved into the 12th house, which means a change of home may be there also for some of you. However, the gain may be not too good or too great, or you may not be too mentally satisfied or emotionally satisfied with that. So while an opportunity of change in career or job may also come by, especially with Rahu going into the Capricorn sign, but you may not be too happy about it. But what the equation is telling you is don't think too much emotionally, but think practically, because long term, this may be very gainful for you. Now, for Virgo moon sign people, which means the moon is in the Virgo sign in your natal chart. So for moon Virgo sign people, when Saturn moves into the Pisces sign, Saturn would be directly aspecting moon and vice versa. However, the impact of Jupiter, Rahu or Ketu, which are also transiting. Jupiter's transit is happening in May, and a couple of weeks after that, Rahu and Ketu are also moving into Aquarius and Leo respectively. However, the direct impact will only be of Saturn on Moon and vice versa. Now, Saturn moving into the Pisces sign, into the 7th house, from a moon sign perspective, while it rules the 5th house of romance, the 6th house of enemies, people working behind the back, competition, which means in love equation, some of you may feel competition, or you may feel jealous, or you may feel a little insecure. So Saturn is saying if you're following rules, regulations, procedures, you are committed in the relationship, then you have less to fear. Don't be fearful. However, because Rahu is moving into the 6th house, so the thing that in your mind, this doubt will persist. It will not be easy to shake it off, that you're competing with somebody else for the attention of your loved ones. The second thing it may do is bring a new person in the equation, because now Saturn is moving into the 7th house, which means that you will, in your romantic relationship, you may become the enemy of your partner, because the partner may feel that you are paying too much attention to somebody else. So either you will find that you are not getting enough attention, support from your loved one, or the other person feels vice versa. So the Saturn's influence on Moon slowing down the emotional happiness will be there. Secondly, Moon rules the 11th house of wishes and desires. So fulfillment of wishes and desires from a relationship perspective, from an emotional perspective, may also be less. The other thing is the wishes and desires that you have from career growth or career change, especially because Jupiter is in the Pisces, in the Gemini sign, and Jupiter rules the Pisces sign, where Saturn is moved in and from where there is a mutual aspect with Moon. So the career may be impacted with communication, ability to be able to communicate well in a team environment, in an empathetic manner. So your wishes and desires will strongly be connected to how you deal with your work and how you present yourself, how you influence people, and how good in your communication, being more balanced in your communication. So that effect will be there. So growth may be there. There will be more stability in your relationship, in your team effort also. However, post June 2026, the situation may change drastically, because post June 2026, Jupiter would have moved into the Cancer sign, ruled by Moon, and few months after that, while Saturn continues to be in Pisces, but Rahu would have moved into the Capricorn sign and Ketu would have moved along with Jupiter in the Cancer sign. So now the situation changes because Moon rules the Cancer sign, where now Jupiter and Ketu are placed. And Rahu is aspecting Moon, or beginning to aspect the Moon with his 9th aspect. So Saturn's aspect or mutual aspect on the Moon and vice versa is continuing. Now Rahu is also aspecting the Moon, and Jupiter and Ketu are indirectly influencing the Moon sign by virtue of being placed in the Cancer sign. So what is Rahu doing now, moving into the 5th house of romance? While Saturn is in the Pisces sign, the Rahu is igniting the emotional aspect in a relationship. So even if you are in a committed relationship, you may be influenced by somebody new or somebody more attractive in a romantic liaison, or there may be this seduction, there may be attraction. So you have to be a little careful of not indulging in a new relation, new equation, because then you will be spoiling the equation you have in your current relationship, in a committed relationship. And because Jupiter is moving into the Cancer sign, so Jupiter is expanding your wishes and desires in a romantic liaison, or in an investment, or in a career change. But Ketu is denying one aspect of it. So you may either get the intimacy, the seductive, the sexy aspect, the sexier aspect of a relationship, but the love, the affection, the softer, the mushy aspect may be missing. Or you may be getting a higher increment in a teamwork in your career. However, the growth may not be as per the role that you want. So one aspect of your career may also be denied for Virgo moon sign people. So be very careful of what new teams you're forming, what new equations you're forming, where new investments you're making, because don't rush into investments thinking that this investment is good for me, this relationship is good for me, this new project is good for me, this new partnership is good for me. Be a little careful, because one aspect of the equation is being denied to you. Now for Libra moon sign people, which means for those people who have moon in the Libra sign in your horoscope, in your natal chart, for these people, you'll find that post Saturn moving into the Pisces sign, beginning of April, a month after that, Jupiter is moving into the Gemini sign, and a couple of weeks after that, Rahu will be moving into your Aquarius sign and Ketu into your Leo sign. Now what's happening? Rahu will be aspecting Moon with his 9th aspect. Jupiter will be aspecting Moon with his 5th aspect. So here, Moon is able to aspect only the 7th house in the Leo sign. But Jupiter's 5th aspect is on the Moon, Rahu's 9th aspect. Now what is Jupiter's 5th aspect on the Moon? Expanding the denotation of the Libra sign of relations, equations and relationship. So this is a very strong equation of making a second relationship successful. So if you have had a relationship earlier which didn't go very well, if you're in a second relationship, or if you're looking for a relationship that may come by, Jupiter is expanding the denotation. It may even result in marriage. So if you are in a second relationship, in a committed relationship, then marriage bells may ring for you. Now, Rahu moving into the 5th house with this 9th aspect, which means that equation or the romantic liaison may come from somebody who may be very different from your ethnicity, in your community, even maybe from your religion or from your background. So Rahu may entice you or seduce you in a new romantic relationship. Jupiter is expanding the denotation. So the chances of you falling in love with a person who's very different from you may result in even the relationship becoming a committed relationship. Either getting into a committed relationship, moving into with that person in the live-in relationship, or even getting married if it's the second relationship. So that is strongly being highlighted. Now, Moon rules the 10th house of career. So what Jupiter is doing, because Moon is in the Libra sign and Jupiter is aspecting Moon. So Jupiter is influencing the Moon that if you are able to have good equation, good balanced equation, balanced relationship, in your effort, in your career, in your work, then there is surely an opportunity of growth, especially connected to foreign lands because of Rahu's 9th aspect on the Moon. So long distance travel, of working with foreign clients, working with foreign companies. So that surely is being expanded. The career is being expanded also. especially because of Saturn being in the Pisces sign and ruler of Pisces sign, the sign of the 6th house of service, moving into the 9th house of long distance travel and aspecting moon. However, post June 2026 next year, the situation will change drastically, because then Jupiter would have moved into the Cancer sign in June 2026. And a few months after that, Ketu will also join Jupiter in the Cancer sign, and Rahu would be moving into the Capricorn sign. Now, what will be happening is, there is no direct influence of Rahu on the moon anymore with his 9th aspect. Neither is Jupiter with his 5th aspect directly influencing moon in Libra. However, Jupiter and Ketu are influencing the sign ruled by moon and in the 10th house. So the emotional quotient connected to the career is being expanded by Jupiter, which means emotionally you will feel happy, you will feel recognized, you will feel appreciated, all of that. But Ketu is denying a strong growth committed to increment money. So responsibilities may increase, the designation may increase, the role may also get better, but the increment may be not that very good or great that you will be very happy or you will be very satisfied. So look out for opportunities of change in your career, in your role. However, also be mindful that the increment may not be as great as you expect. Though the role may be very satisfactory, the role may change, the designation may also grow, the status may also grow. Now, for those people who have Scorpio moon sign, which means moon is in the sign of Scorpio in your natal chart. So from a moon sign perspective, when Saturn moves into the Pisces sign, end of March or beginning of April, a month after that, Jupiter is moving into the Gemini sign. And a few weeks after that, Rahu is moving into the Aquarius sign and Ketu in the Leo sign. So from a moon sign perspective, there is no direct influence on the moon, either through Rahu or Ketu's aspect or Jupiter's aspect, neither of Saturn's aspect. However, what is happening is moon rules the 9th house and moon is placed in the Scorpio sign and aspecting the Taurus sign, where Saturn's aspect is also falling. So what is happening from a long-term, long-distance travel, higher education, higher qualification, learning from your experience, you may not be able to make gains unless you go through a transformation, because moon placed in the Scorpio sign is the sign of transformation. So in anything, any relationship that you're looking at, because moon is aspecting the 7th house, where Saturn is also aspecting, being placed in the Pisces sign. So Pisces sign is also the sign of the 12th house of the Kalpurush Kundali, which means that in a relationship, unless you are in a committed relationship, and if you're not committing in the relationship, the gains that are coming for you are not coming unless you are transforming your mindset, your thought process in the relationship. In a relationship or in a teamwork or in a project work or working with people. Now, because Saturn from a moon sign perspective is in the 5th house of romance, while Saturn also rules the 3rd house of effort and rules the 4th house of domestic life. So in a committed relationship, if you like somebody and forming a stable relationship, committed relationship, then the home may also be established. And the home may also be established with somebody either coming who is a foreigner, coming from foreign land, or born in a different ethnicity from which you're born in. And or maybe joining you from foreign lands, and then your home being established in a relationship also. But that will need a transformation, a change in your thought process. You'll have to change how you look at relationships also. However, this situation is changing drastically post June 2026 next year, because Jupiter would have then moved into the Cancer sign in June 2026, and a few months after that, Ketu would also be joining Jupiter in the Cancer sign, and Rahu would be moving into the Capricorn sign, while Saturn continues to remain in the Pisces sign. Now, what is happening is, now the equation is changing slightly, because earlier Jupiter and Ketu were having no direct impact on moon. However, now because of Jupiter moving into the Cancer sign ruled by moon, and Ketu also moving into the sign and both aspecting the moon with their 5th aspect, which means Jupiter with his 5th aspect is bringing gains to the person in a relationship. strong, especially because now Jupiter and Ketu are also aspecting Saturn back after they moved into the Cancer sign. So Jupiter saying in a second relationship with Jupiter aspecting your Saturn in the fifth, if you like somebody and if you're moving in a committed relationship, then that stable relationship will bring you gains, strong gains, because now Moon, Saturn and Jupiter and Ketu are in 159 equation with each other. So this is a very good trinity which is being formed in the tri-corners. So this will bring strong gains for you also. So if you're in a committed relationship and you fructify the relationship, change, long distance travel, high learning, spiritual learning can also be coming, and you may also move away from your country into a different country also. There may be change in location also. Why change in location may happen? Because Rahu will be moving away from your fourth house into the third house of short distance travel. So a short duration travel from where you are, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of travel, maybe air travel. You may move away. The home may change because Saturn, the fourth house ruler, will be continuing to be stationed in the fifth house. But Jupiter and Ketu is a change bringer, status quo change bringer may also come by. So that will also come by for Scorpio moon sign people. Now for Sagittarius moon sign people, which means for those people who have moon in the Sagittarius sign, for those people, you will find that post end of March or beginning of April, when Saturn moves into the Pisces sign, a month after that, Jupiter would be moving into your Gemini sign, and a few weeks after that, Rahu would be moving into the Aquarius sign and Ketu into the Leo sign. Now, what is happening is there is a very, very strong impact of 10th aspect of Saturn on the moon, 7th aspect of Jupiter on the moon, and vice versa, and Ketu's 5th aspect on the moon. All three are strongly influencing moon, whereas moon also rules the 8th house. So Jupiter is expanding relationship connected to home because Jupiter rules the Pisces sign where Saturn is placed. So Jupiter is expanding our equation, but Saturn rules the second house of income and the third house of effort, which means if you put in the effort to get into a stable relationship, emotional relationship, it will be very successful, especially if it's a second relationship. Or you will move a city, or you will find that equation coming in from another city. So the committed relationship may come in from different city, or the person may be born in a different city from your city of birth. And if you are liking the person, if you want to, then you may even fructify the relationship. You may settle down in a committed relationship with the person. So the status quo of the relationship is surely changing, especially post-May. So be careful of who you are committing or getting into relationship or committing through engagement or even getting married. Because of Ketu's 5th aspect on moon, Ketu is denying some gains coming unless you are committed to the person and know the person long term. Then good gains are coming in, career is getting enhanced because moon rules the 8th house, is in the Lagna, in Sagittarius of long distance travel. So if you're not very clear in your mind, then there may be obstructions coming in from the relationship, obstructions coming in from your domestic front also. So be careful of what kind of decisions you're taking from an emotional perspective. Try to be more practical rather than emotional. However, the situation will change a lot and may change drastically post June 2026 because Jupiter will not be in Gemini anymore. Jupiter would have moved into the Cancer sign ruled by moon, and a few months after that, Rahu would move into the Capricorn sign and Ketu would have moved into the 8th house, joining Jupiter in the Cancer sign. Now what's happening? Saturn's 10th aspect continues to be on the moon, which means from a career front, income front, effort front, Saturn is asking you to continue to be committed in your work, continue to be committed to your career, which means be committed mind-wise and also emotionally. Be engaged in your work, be engaged to your work also, and be engaged into your domestic house also, to your immediate family also, especially because Saturn is also continuing to aspect the 7th house. However, now because of Jupiter and Ketu getting into the Cancer sign ruled by moon, which is the 8th house denotation, and Jupiter rules the 4th house where Saturn is moved in. and Saturn is aspecting moon, which means Jupiter is expanding some of the obstruction, challenges, problems which are coming in, especially from an emotional perspective, from a family perspective, from a relationship perspective, from a career perspective also. And because Rahu is moved into the second house, so a lot of it may be connected to money, which means your savings is not growing, your increment is not growing, because of it there is some tension, there is some challenge at home in the relationship also. So Jupiter is expanding that denotation also, especially because Jupiter rules the Lagna, or the sign where moon is placed. And because Ketu is the sign of denial, so Ketu is denying you the emotional stability when the situation arises. So the challenge for Sagittarius moon sign people would be not to be too focused on the money or bank or money in the bank or increments. Try and be more stable in the relationship. Try and be more stable in your partnership, in the teamwork. Because that period otherwise will create unnecessary obstructions, challenges in your career, on your relationship, and gains coming in. However, for those people who have careers connected to the 8th house, this will be an excellent period. Jupiter will expand the denotation. Ketu will stop challenges, obstructions happening. So it will be a time for growth for all those people who have careers connected to the 8th house when moon is in the Sagittarius sign. Now for Capricorn moon sign people, which means if moon is in the Capricorn sign in your natal chart, then for those people, when Saturn will be moving into the Pisces sign, end of March or beginning of April, a month after that, Jupiter would be moving into your Gemini sign. And a couple of weeks after that, Rahu would have moved into your Aquarius sign and Ketu into your Leo sign. So now what's happening is there is no direct impact of either Jupiter on the moon with its aspect, neither is Saturn aspecting moon through its 3rd or 7th or 10th aspect, neither is Rahu, neither is Ketu. However, what's happening is moon's aspect on the own sign in the 7th house from a moon sign perspective is very strong. But which sign is moon placed? Moon is placed in the sign of Capricorn. And the Capricorn Lord, Saturn, which also rules the Aquarius sign 2nd house, is going into the 3rd house. Which means because moon is in the sign ruled by Saturn and Saturn has gone into the 3rd house. So without strong effort, dedicated effort, committed effort, the gains which come from teamwork, from your ability to work in projects with others, ability to deal with others on a day-to-day basis. If you are in customer service, and if you are in any equation where you have to deal with people on a day-to-day basis, so the effort is compounded, enhanced. However, you will be in a very positive frame of mind throughout this period. And your optimism will be enhanced, your motivation will be enhanced, and you will find that you're very dedicated and committed, but you will also put in the hard work. However, you may not be able to enjoy the fruits of the emotional return coming from a relationship front, surely. So while you're committed, you are following rules, procedures. However, the equation that the response that you are getting from a relationship may not be strong, yet you are still optimistic, you're still motivated, and you are the one who is carrying the relationship forward, and you are the one who's contributing in the relationship. However, this situation will drastically change because Jupiter will move from the Gemini sign into the Cancer sign. Now, when Jupiter moves into the Cancer sign next year, somewhere around June 2026, a few months after that, Rahu would also move into the Capricorn sign, joining moon, the natal moon, where moon is placed in your birth chart, and Ketu would have moved into the Cancer sign. So Rahu is directly influencing moon, in fact eclipsing moon. Now Ketu's direct impact is not there on the moon. However, indirect impact is on the moon through being placed in the Cancer sign. However, Jupiter is directly aspecting moon and vice versa. So now Rahu going into the same sign where moon is placed. So Rahu is strongly expanding the denotation of moon, wanting better relations or better equation in the relationship, balance in the relationship. So you may feel once Rahu joins moon that I've been the one who's contributing so far, I've been the one who's taking the relationship forward, I've been the one who's kept the relationship going, but I'm not getting my due. So the requirement from the relationship, emotional requirement from the relationship will be enhanced. This will also be strongly impacting your career because moon is in the Capricorn sign. Capricorn sign is the 10th house of the Kalpurush Kundli, and its ruler Saturn is in the 3rd house. So you may also feel that, okay, I've been working very hard. I've been having very good equations with my team members. However, nothing is working. So in a career perspective, the hunger and greed for better growth, for better learning, increment and all will be enhanced because Rahu also co-rules Aquarius along with Saturn. So all of these will be enhanced. Jupiter will continue to give you growth in your relations, in your teamwork. So people may still be supportive of you once Jupiter moves into the Cancer sign where it gets exalted. However, you may not feel completely satisfied. Ketu will deny you the satisfaction, the emotional satisfaction, because Ketu is placed in the Cancer sign. So this may be a tricky period for you when Rahu is eclipsing moon, because if you allow the hunger and greed to overpower you, your relationship will be affected, and your good results that you may get from prolonged, committed, long-term effort that you're getting career may also be impacted, because both Jupiter and Ketu are aspecting Saturn in the Pisces sign, and Jupiter rules the Pisces sign. So be real careful of how you take decisions, especially because Jupiter also rules your 12th house and will be aspecting Moon, and Moon is placed in the Capricorn sign, which Saturn rules, and Saturn is placed in the sign ruled by Jupiter. So very strong four-way equation of the 12th house, the 7th house, the Capricorn sign, and the 3rd house is coming into the equation, including Rahu influencing Moon. So growth may still be there, increment may be there, relationship will be good, but you have to curb the hunger and greed and not to overshoot your ambition, because that may spoil your relationship and the gains coming from relationships. Now for Aquarius moon sign people, which means for those people who have moon in the Aquarius sign in your natal chart, in your birth chart, for these people, once Saturn is moving into the Pisces sign, end of March or beginning of April, a month after that, Jupiter is moving into the Gemini sign, and a couple of weeks after that, Rahu is moving into the Aquarius sign to join the moon, and Ketu is moving into the Leo sign, opposite house to the moon. So here, there will be a direct impact of Rahu on the moon through Rahu moving into the Aquarius sign, and Jupiter's 9th aspect will be on the moon. But moon will be aspecting the 7th house and the Leo sign. So what this is doing is, because moon rules the 6th house of enemies, service, and gone into the Aquarius sign and joined by Rahu, which means you will have to be a little more tactful and diplomatic to overcome enemies, overcome competition. When you're sitting in a competitive exam, without being too very ready, very tactful, very diplomatic, or in a confrontation with enemies, or to overcome hidden enemies without being tactful or diplomatic, even a little bit manipulative, you will not be able to get gains coming from service, especially service, because Jupiter is moving into the Gemini sign, in the sign of communication, but which is also the 3rd house in the Kalpurush Kundli. However, the 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So gains in career which are coming in from service, especially if you're in a job, and Jupiter is expanding it only when you're being tactful and you're being more diplomatic and you're able to work for the equation, for the department, for the organization, because Aquarius sign is the larger equation, or for the masses, for the department rather than self. However, what's happening is Ketu is moving into the 7th house where moon is aspecting. So in a relationship, Ketu is denying you getting the emotional quotient or the emotional reciprocity from the opposite person. So in a relationship, you may not be too happy. However, because Jupiter is going into the 5th house of romance, investments, change, so Jupiter is allowing you the change happening in the romantic liaison. So because Ketu is a status quo change bringer, so if you are in a relationship and if a new equation comes by, Ketu may stop or change the status quo of the current relationship, making you fall into a new relationship, because Rahu is influencing the moon. So Rahu is manipulating or misleading you or giving you a seductive attraction towards a new entity, new romantic entity, and spoiling the earlier one. So be a little careful here, especially because Saturn is going into the sign ruled by Jupiter, which is Pisces sign, and Jupiter is now aspecting the moon, and Jupiter also rules the 11th house of wishes and desires. So Rahu is enhancing the wishes and desires, Ketu is denying the current relationship, but Jupiter is giving you a change, either in your career or in a romantic relationship. So be a little careful of what new equations you're forming, what new teams you're forming, what new team projects you are getting into. However, the situation will change drastically once Jupiter moves away from the Gemini sign into the Cancer sign. So when Jupiter moves into the Cancer sign, into the 6th house, ruled by Moon, while Moon is in the Aquarius sign. So now this is changing the situation drastically because Moon is in the Aquarius sign ruled by Saturn. Saturn has gone into the 2nd house of income, livelihood, savings in the bank, and Jupiter and Ketu both are aspecting Saturn with their 9th aspect. And because Moon is placed in the Aquarius sign ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also rules the 12th house, you will find that once Jupiter moves into the Cancer sign, a few months after that, Rahu is moving into the Capricorn sign and Ketu is moving into the Cancer sign, joining Jupiter. So the Rahu is influencing the 12th house ruled by Saturn. Saturn also rules the Aquarius sign where Moon is placed. So from an emotional perspective, you will find that you are moving, or you're attracted to, or your inclination is towards foreign lands, foreign jobs, working with foreign clients, moving to foreign lands for higher learning, also higher equation, also for aimed at increment, aimed at growth, aimed at higher livelihood. And because Jupiter is aspecting Saturn, expanding the denotation, especially of increments, so the money will surely come in, but you will have to be more careful in the growth perspective because Ketu is sitting in the 6th house. So Ketu is denying you a strong overcoming of enemies or overcoming competition. So the money is surely coming in, but growth maybe even be denied unless you are more diplomatic and tactful. With Rahu going into the Capricorn sign, Capricorn sign is the natural house, 10th house of the Kalpurush Kundali. So if you're more tactful, if you're more diplomatic, then you may be able to enjoy the growth in your career, in your service also, while you enjoy the increments as well. So it's a good time for Aquarius people, especially in a relationship, because Moon is aspecting the 7th house. If you're careful, if you're tactful, if you are more committed in a committed relationship, in a committed teamwork, then both the relationship aspect is also being gainful for you, expanded for you, including in your service. Now, for those people who have Moon in the Pisces sign in your natal chart, in your birth chart, so when Saturn is moving into the Pisces sign, joining Moon, end of March or beginning of April, you will find that a month after that, Jupiter is moving into the Gemini sign. And within a couple of weeks after that, Rahu is moving into Aquarius sign and Ketu is moving into your Leo sign. So now, neither is Rahu directly impacting the Moon, neither is Ketu impacting the Moon with its 9th or the 5th aspect. Neither is Jupiter impacting the Moon in any sign directly or any way directly. However, because Moon is placed in the Pisces sign with its while its dispositor, Jupiter is sitting in the 4th house. So yeah, Jupiter and Moon in some way are in the Kendra to each other. So short of a small Gajkesari yoga. However, Saturn is placed in the Pisces sign and its ruler Jupiter is placed in the 4th house. But Saturn rules the 11th house of wishes and desires and also the 12th house of bed pleasures and foreign land as well. So what's happening, if you are working in a foreign company, you may meet somebody socially which may end up getting you establish a relationship long term with them. Why a relationship? Jupiter rules the Lagna, but Jupiter also rules the Sagittarius sign. So at work, you may meet somebody which may end up forming the 4th house of domestic life because Moon and Saturn both are aspecting your 7th house also. But why getting into a romantic relationship? Because Moon rules the 5th house of romance, 5th house of change, 5th house of speculative investments. So a speculative investment in emotions is being connected to a new person. and in that relationship establishing a committed relationship, because Saturn is involved here and is aspecting your 7th house. Saturn rules the 11th house of social connection, meeting somebody socially. Also rules the 12th house of bed pleasures. However, it can be you move for abroad and then you meet somebody, and that the new equation forms. But if you're already abroad, you will meet somebody new who may be from a different equation or ethnicity or community from where you are, because Rahu is placed in the Aquarius sign, and that is ending up giving you a new relationship. However, Ketu is denying you competition, which means it may become very easy for you to get into a relationship. There you will not have to make too much effort, and you may even get into a committed relationship. So be careful when you're committing, because of Rahu placed there, the person may be very different. Similarly, in your career front, because Jupiter rules the 10th house going into the 4th house, and then Kendra to Moon, and Jupiter rules the sign which Saturn is placed with, along with Moon placed here, which means your career aspirations will get a growth, will get a fillip. You may enjoy a new growth in your work, in your career, and that may be stable growth for you long term, as long as you are committed in a teamwork. So if you have really worked hard in a team environment, in a team project, rather than individual player, then this may be a time for growth and a career growth also for you. The situation will change drastically after June 2026, because Jupiter will then move away from your Gemini sign, and Jupiter will move into the Cancer sign, into your 5th house. Yeah, if the change was not coming in earlier in the career, now the change will absolutely certainly come to you. Why absolutely certain change may come to you? Because of two things. Once Jupiter moves into the Cancer sign, the sign of its exaltation, a few months after that, Rahu will move into a Capricorn sign, and Ketu will move into the 5th house ruled by Moon in the Cancer sign and joining Jupiter here. Now, why the career change is almost absolutely certain here? Jupiter rules the 10th house, moving into the 5th house. The 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. The 8th house, the transformation and change. And Ketu is coming here. Ketu is a status quo change bringer. So a change is also coming for you in your career, related to your career, which will enhance your stature, which will give you gains in your stature, which will bring you new standing in your stature, especially because Moon being placed there and Moon ruling the 5th house of change or speculative investments, and moving in with Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of the 11th house of wishes and desires coming through. But Saturn also rules the 12th house. So especially if you're working in a foreign land, foreign consulting firm, or working in an MSc, then the change is surely, almost certainly coming to you if you worked hard in a team environment. Secondly, getting into a romantic relationship is also happening for you, because Rahu is moving into the 11th house of wishes and desires. Rahu rules the 12th house of bed pleasures, and ruler of the 12th and the 11th house, Saturn, is in the sign Pisces, ruled by Moon. Moon is a very optimistic presence in the Pisces sign. Person become too optimistic. So even if the person is very different from you in your ethnicity, in your community, you still are so optimistic, you go ahead with the relationship because of Jupiter and Ketu both being placed in the 5th house of romance. So be really careful of who you fall in love with and form the relationship, because that is being so stable, it will go long term. However, it's excellent time for growth, career growth, enhancement in your prestige, for appreciation, acknowledgement is coming for Pisces sign people. So friends, now that we have seen from a moon sign perspective how the transit of Saturn in the Pisces, and then accompanied by first Jupiter's movement or transit into Gemini, and then Rahu and Ketu's into Aquarius and the Leo sign respectively, and then Jupiter's transit into the Cancer sign, followed with Ketu also moving there and Rahu moving into Capricorn, while Saturn remains in Pisces, is bringing different equations from an emotional perspective, from your mental makeup, from how you're looking at different, satisfaction, how you're looking at teamwork, how you're looking at empathy, how you're looking at supporting people. So do look into your horoscope, because this particular change of Saturn being in Pisces is going to be for over 2.5 years, and two transits, 2 of Jupiter and 2 of Rahu and Ketu are happening. So look into your horoscope, understand the placement from a mental, emotional perspective, because the mind is the Manas, and Manas is the one who makes choices for us. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me. The link is given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.